Hey, 3 o'clock on Tuesday, everybody. Hopefully we have the audio problems and the video problems and all those things worked out. So hopefully one of you that are tuning in can post the first comment and just give me a thumbs up and let me know that there's no AC blowing on the microphone or any of those things like we had in the past. So once again, keeping our weekly commitment, letting you guys have an inside look at some of the things that we're working on at UZURV. And I will come out and say right away, I'm still fighting off this cold for 3-4 days, so if I sound a little nasally, I apologize for that. Hopefully I don't have to get out the tissue in the middle of the video and blow my nose or anything like embarrassing like that. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Looks like Mark Steven, Kansas City. I wanted to thank you again for the hat that you gave us, Mark, when we were there. You gave Amjad and I both a Kansas City Royals hat, which was really cool. That was one of the memorable takeaways from our journey across the United States and back. So thanks again for that. And TJ also was the one that, she just joined in. She graced us with Fred. So Fred has been MIA the last couple of videos because I've been doing them from the road. And today's no exception. I'm in a different vehicle today, which is pretty abnormal for me. I get the privilege of driving my other car, which is kind of nice. But definitely wanted to let you know we got some exciting things going on right now. And it may have been a little quiet for a while as we open new markets, but Minneapolis, Minnesota opened yesterday, and I believe that's market number 62. If I'm incorrect, hopefully one of my team will jump into comments real quick and correct that, but it's either 61 or 62. I hope it's 62. It's a huge milestone for us as a company, getting up there into the northern half of the Midwestern United States, and Minneapolis is another large city that has great potential, like, you know, most of the large markets that are seeing the momentum right now. So Leslie's joined in, Jack joined in. Hey Jack, good to see you. DC is one of those markets that we owe some love back to. We hear your comments, we see them, and we are committed to waking that market up. And you'd be surprised to see that we do have significant growth. Harold was going through some metrics yesterday with me on Northern Virginia and DC. We've got Baltimore open, we got Ocean City, Maryland open. We just added a couple zip codes that somehow got left out of the mix, but we are always listening to the comments and reacting as quickly as we can, so appreciate your help there. All right, got a couple people saying hi, so I appreciate you all joining in. You know, this is important for us as a company. I know it's important to Matt Donlin, our CEO. He really loves the live raw video contact that we have with you as a group of drivers and supporters of UZURV, and wants to definitely highlight some of the things that we're working on for the future, even though we continue to tackle a lot of the issues and bring up things that are surfacing through our customer support desk or things that we hear here on Facebook. You know, we're always going to be reacting to things like that, but we want to make sure bring you up to speed on some of the things like we mentioned last week, where we started talking about some ideas that we had some initial meetings with a hotel in our local market of Richmond, Virginia. Well, I'm happy to report that we've got some traction on that concept. And last night actually, we took our first steps with that local hotel of having them be essentially a referral machine or ambassador hotel for UZURV. And I think the term that we're going to utilize is a hospitality partner. So we have the hospitality partner in the hotel that's here in town. I'm going to continue to keep that property name and location confidential, but it is in Richmond, Virginia. It is a brand name hotel property, and when we have some more data and the legal authorization to share it with you, we definitely will. But the nice thing is that hotel general manager loves the concept of UZURV, has embraced it and said, I want to offer this to my guests because right now all they do is offer them a phone number to a cab company that they have written on a notepad behind the desk, and this gives them the ability to refer a service that essentially creates a private car service for their guest, utilizing drivers from Uber and Lyft, which, we all appreciate any extra business as drivers, and getting professional level business like that, whether it be, sports teams that all need to get to the same place at the same time, or you've got business clients that are meeting their companies, or companies that are meeting their clients, and they need to travel in groups of more than 5, 6, 7, 10 people, and we can get them all, multiple drivers, multiple vehicles there all at the same time. So all right, so moving on to some of the other things that we're working on. And I know Matt is extremely excited about letting you guys know what we're working on. Is, UZURV is designed for scalability, not just in the rideshare space, but how can we grow that into other vertical products or vertical channels? And when I say vertical, it's just other focus areas for the same type of product, and be able to take that product and then maximize it in different areas. So Matt definitely wants to share some of his vision with you through this video that I give every week, and that is, if we take a look at one of the things that Trish Fitzpatrick, our corporate outreach and interim marketing VP, is working on. She's out in San Francisco right now to do her presentation that is the result of us winning a contest here in Richmond, Virginia, which was Aging 2.0, which is an organization that focuses on technology for aging Americans, or aging citizens, I should say. And she did her presentation. I think it was 2 to 5 minutes. She got up there and explained what UZURV was and how it worked, and we ended up winning that contest of new technology for the aged. And as by winning that, we were invited to present again in San Francisco, which is going on, I believe, later this week, tomorrow and Thursday. So Trish is out there on behalf of UZURV to really on a nationwide audience, or platform for the nationwide audience, to explain to them what UZURV is. Now, it's in San Francisco, which is close and dear to our heart, because both Uber and Lyft are based in San Francisco, and San Francisco we currently don't have open as one of the UZURV markets. So based on some of this feedback, we're going to have some interesting information and potentially some new direction on the company of where we go. But from a vertical standpoint, is how do we get the riders that don't have a smartphone educated about Uber and Lyft, rideshare in general, and UZURV in order to cater it to their needs. So it's just one of the things that we embarked on very early on, along with our focus on becoming a app that is popular in the community for the blind. And our app is voiceover compatible. That was one of the things that was a early commitment that we made to the blind community, because they do love to utilize Uber and Lyft, and we wanted to make sure that the ability to schedule those rideshare services was available to them, and that was one of our early corporate direction or directives as we launched our app. So that was accomplished very early. But if you think about it, we have a client down in the North Carolina, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Charlotte area, that his business is moving donated organs, human organs, from the airports or the freight terminals to hospitals in an extremely time-sensitive manner. And he previously to UZURV was just trying to get a hold of Uber drivers and collect business cards and ride around with them and get their names and numbers and say, hey, would you be interested at 4 in the morning of going to the FedEx terminal and picking up a lung? It's a pretty interesting situation, but it's a business, right? And he had a need for drivers on a very short notice. And as we continue to develop our app, someone like that can have a lot of input into how we build it and what functionality goes in it, so that he can make sure that he has that scheduling tool available for drivers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at odd hours, and have favorite drivers that he knows are willing to pick up that that organ and get it delivered to hopefully save a life. So, you know, what a better story to tell than if we were able to say something like that we helped. And I apologize for the beeping here. We'll get that stopped in a second. But what better story to tell than we saved a life, you know, and because we were able to schedule something like that to be picked up. So just keep in mind, you know, we talk about medical, we talk about the elderly, we talk about just the different things. The corporate aspect is one that is very, very important to us, and we know that our core customer is the business traveler. Okay, these are the clients, the riders that already love Uber and Lyft. They've realized that it is much less expensive than driving in taxis, nicer vehicles, friendlier drivers, and there is a major movement in the corporate community right now to where Uber and Lyft are becoming acceptable expense reimbursements, where for a couple of years it was pretty tough because companies for the most part didn't know what it is, or what it, excuse me one second. That's how raw this video is. When you have a cold, you got a cough. But anyway, you know, with regard to expense reimbursements, that companies, if they didn't know what Uber and Lyft was, they're definitely not going to check the box on there and say that they're going to reimburse you for that instead of you should have taken a taxi. Regardless of whether or not it would have been less expensive, they just didn't understand it. But, you know, if you take a second and go online and do some searches around information related to rental cars and the decreases that the rental car companies are seeing in cities worldwide, not just nationwide, but worldwide. And in addition to that, the taxi numbers that are decreasing worldwide, it's because business travelers are moving over to rideshare and they like the product. I mean, people rave about it. That's how I got introduced to Uber long before becoming a driver, being from the West Coast, Uber being 7 years old already. Even here in Richmond, our hometown, hometown of UZURV, the Uber's only been here 2 years and Lyft's only been here 2 months. So it is still new to a majority of people out there. And then you add to that the ability to schedule in advance, people love it. So those of you that are seeing your markets grow slowly, don't worry about it. You know, we've got a 24-month ramp on all of the markets that we've opened so far. And remember, our app just hit the App Store in April, at the end of April. So we're looking, it's really only been 6 months. So we got four more periods of time, or 3 more, just as long as the one we've had. So if you take 2 years and try to forecast out what activity will look like in your market. I mean, you saw some of the pictures we posted this week about Richmond. Richmond is blowing up. I mean, we had one driver that had 96 completed reservations last month. That's a lot. And so apologize for the pause there. Just had a gentleman who did not want to stop, but I'm sure he has somewhere very important to be. I'll behave myself. Anyway, think about your market 24 months from now or 18 months from now, what that activity is going to look like. We're real excited about what we're seeing in Richmond. We're real excited about what we're seeing in Dallas. We're real excited about what we're seeing in places like Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Fort Bragg is located. Hopefully everybody there is safe from the hurricane damage and everything that happened over the weekend. But the growth that's being experienced is phenomenal, and it is ahead of schedule in a lot of areas, and it is still behind schedule in some areas, but that's okay. And we're going to go back and make sure that that we focus on the growth in the areas that need it. So moving on to the next topic. So far my voice is held up, which is good, and we haven't gotten into an accident, which is even better. Let's talk about how do we increase ridership. Well, first of all, let's start with drivers. And you know, this is one of the points that Matt, our CEO, is extremely passionate about, and that is driver professionalism, driver responsibility, driver accountability, and how do we let riders, our customers know that we've got higher quality drivers than what they may randomly see on a regular trip request. So one of the things that's coming as we move our back-end server to new heights and to new capabilities, which is what our entire development team is working on right now. When that happens, we're gonna have a lot more functionality, capability, and control of how our information flows back and forth through the app. So the nice thing is we're gonna have a lot more control of the options that we can put into the app on the front side. And I know one of the things that Matt really wants to see, and a lot of us are very supportive of, is we want to see accomplishments or certifications or badging per se, to say that a driver has either A, reached a certain level, or B, has completed some sort of training, or has been, let's say, certified by this particular hotel group to pick up their customers, or that they've been certified to deliver food or to deliver medical organs, or the capabilities are pretty much endless. But us having the ability to give the drivers attainable goals to say, you know what, I want to be certified for that hotel, or I want to be certified for this particular service that is utilizing UZURV, and selecting drivers by those levels of certification creates some great opportunities to improve your professionalism, to actually build your business. We're going to help rideshare become something that other companies look at as a legitimate formidable employer or employment opportunity for people that want to work for themselves and be entrepreneurial and run your own business. And you know what, if you have opportunities to elevate your level of service as next to your competitor, why not? And if we can support that, even better. So when Matt talks about reliability of a driver, reliability is key. We want the functionality that says, hey, if for some reason this request was taken by a driver that did not take it seriously, forgot about it, woke up late, somehow had to cancel on our client, we want the ability to have all sorts of things occur at that point to get a driver to take care of that rider. And that would be, do we have the ability to text within the app? Do we have the ability to have a backup driver pool that says they're available, 24 hours a day at this time, or, these days a week, or they're available at this time of the morning in this city with a 10-mile radius to be a backup driver if any reservations are canceled, different things like that. So what I'm encouraging all of you to do is make sure to utilize the one thing that I ask for the most, and that is make sure that when you're posting something in Facebook, post it to our support team through the feedback option in the app menu. And you'll always hear that. I almost say it as a cliche sometimes. People will go, hey, I don't like this honk honk sound that my app makes at 3 in the morning. It wakes my kids up. Okay, fantastic. You said it on Facebook. People thought it might have been funny or laughed at it. But if you truly mean that, make sure you let us know. And the way to do that is open up your app. It could be the rider app or the driver app. Open it up, click on feedback. It'll open your email up. It'll stamp the version and the operating system that you're using, and lets us know some important information. And then, gets the feedback through our support team so that they can get it to user experience and have it cataloged, have it ranked, have it rated, and make sure that we know exactly what's important when to the driver community, rider community that's out there giving us these tips and tricks of how to make the app better. Okay, so if we can get that from you guys, feedback, crucial. We love it, both positive and negative. All of you that are in this UZURV for Drivers Facebook group are also members of other Uber, Lyft, and your local groups out there. We know the feedback, positive, negative, doesn't matter. You will see that when UZURV posts responses or responds to any type of negative banter, that type of thing, we're always professional. And when it comes down to it, last but not least, if we need to disagree or agree to disagree with somebody because they don't like it, that's fine. And when the time comes that they realize that they were wrong, because now UZURV is huge and we're looking for additional drivers, we welcome them back with open arms at that time. Fair enough. So definitely got that covered. So I'm going to pull up to the stop sign here. I'm going to take a quick glance at the comments, because I don't want to miss anything. One I see right off the bat here is, this is from Felix. Felix, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And Felix says, will UZURV be compatible with Juno? It's a great question. Juno, for those of you that don't know, is really trying to make a big move into the rideshare industry. Better for customers, better for drivers. They want to give shares of the company to the drivers and really create a new rideshare experience. They're trying to position themselves above Uber from a class and driver responsibility level, and just more elite product for rideshare. And they're starting in New York City. They've got plans to open some additional markets, but I think all of that is supposed to occur in 2017. I don't know all the details about Juno, but what I will tell you, Felix, is that when they become a established, formidable platform, then we would make it available through UZURV for the drivers and for those riders to utilize our scheduling tool. And if it fits, we'll do it. Will they be the next one? I don't know. And unfortunately, there's so many competitors out there. If you look at what's going on in Austin, Texas, you've got a lot of them out there playing in that space. You've got some companies that are attempting to do both what a TNC does and what UZURV does, and you will see that they are struggling with that, because they you cannot do both and still try to maintain your TNC regulation or standing. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. But like I said, if we get competitors or new platforms that are established is the key word, and a good addition to our platform, we open our app to them at any time to partner with us. So great job. A great question, I should say. How close? Bill up in Indy says, how closely have you worked with Uber and Lyft to create this service? When you say closely, it's an interesting term. Our legal department has done their due diligence along with Uber and Lyft. But when we say how closely have we worked with them, the word with is definitely the first word I'll address, is that we have not worked with them at all. We have to operate in a completely independent space from them. They know that, and we know that, and that is why they continue to maintain a neutral stance, because they cannot endorse what we do, because it puts their TNC platform at risk. We need to be very clear and say, we are not attempting to be a TNC. We do not intend on providing transportation services, okay? And that right there, that is our intention toward Uber and Lyft, and we'll openly tell you guys the same thing. We don't want to do what they do. And we realize that what we do is something that, if they attempted to do it, would jeopardize their business model. Therefore, they don't. So, it's a tough question to answer. A lot of people have said, I'm not, driving for UZURV till I hear from Uber that it's okay. Not going to happen. So, make your own decisions and move on. So, let's talk about some popular topics. Is, hey, how many riders we have on UZURV? And those are things, hey, I'm going to let you know from a legal standpoint, financial data, those are things we can't share. We try to tell you that things are good. Those that have invested in our company are happy and continue to keep us moving forward on development and this big server change and things like that. I mean, these are all things that are happening because of positive growth, and our numbers are exponentially increasing in all the 62 cities that we have open today because of all of you. And I appreciate every ounce of effort that any of you have put on or put forth toward growing the UZURV platform. And the reason that we realize that everyone is doing that is because you realize that it is a benefit for you. So I think there's been a couple companies that have come out and said, you know, we are by drivers for drivers, you know, but you got to walk the walk, or walk the talk, and prove your statement when you say something like that. And that's where we say, hey, you know what, we've committed the 7% referral rewards back to our drivers. We're committed to that. We're committed to allowing the customers the incentive option in the app, which is 100% passed along to you as a driver. Great stuff. Okay, so continue to grow the ridership. All of you know that the favorite driver function is the key to success. And you know, those of you that are picking rides out of the feed, turning those customers into favorites, are the ones that are, you know, completing the most reservations and getting the largest incentives. So, you know, everyone, each week we have new markets, like Minneapolis just opened up. Welcome to the party. The learning curve is much shorter, right? You got a lot of help. There's over 1,400 people in this group watching this, or where this video will be available, all willing to help each other and all interested in growing this product, which is UZURV, and we're here for you guys. I appreciate everyone's time and efforts. Again, I know Matt Donlin does. I see that, you know, we've got 11 viewing right now, but we've had as high as 20 something on here while I've been chatting. There's a lot of attention on the product. There's a lot of buzz starting out there in different cities. You're starting to hear more about UZURV, and you're starting to see vehicles driving around town with the UZURV logos on them. We've got promotions running in several cities and coming soon to the cities that don't have it, to get the awareness up. And right now, everything that we're doing is working. And in the tradition of a app company or a technology software company, is the best advertising is word of mouth. Okay, and you know, if you look at a company like Snapchat, they've never had a television commercial, but you know what? They've got millions and millions of users. You know, Instagram, Pinterest, some of these companies that have huge followings, all of that growth came from word of mouth. So, and in many cases, Uber on the rider side, you know, has done a lot of radio and, you know, a little bit of TV here and there, but that's only within the past couple years. Prior to that, the first 5-6 years, it's all word of mouth. So getting drivers to spread the word, giving first ride free, that type of thing. We're giving you know, 3 reservations free to new riders. You can refer from within your app menu. You can refer from text, Twitter, Facebook, or email, all within the app. You don't even need to have the business cards that we make available to you on the Vistaprint site, but those are there for you as well. Thanks for tuning in. It's been about 30 minutes. Appreciate all your time and effort. Again, I know Matt does as well. Our entire team at UZURV and the developers and development team that work hard on the technology itself. Thank you to everybody, and we'll talk to you again next week.